Hey. And welcome back to Mass Culture Podcast, episode number 12, with very special guest,
Caitlin Bliss.
All right.
All right.
Welcome to the show.
Good to be here.
We're glad to have you. We're starting off like I can't. I'll cut this out. Blah. Gotta take it away.
Yeah, so once we said it, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming.
Of course.
So what's going on with anxiety at best?
So, unfortunately, we did break up back in January. We had our farewell show, which was a very bittersweet, kind of thing because we had a good turnout, played all of our favorite songs, and kind of had an emotional end to it. Like at the very end of the show, after we played our last song, we all sat down on the floor together and we sung along and played to Green Day's Good Riddance, Time of Your Life. Mm-hmm. And at one point, we had everybody have their flashlights up on their phone. You know how they do at concerts and all that.
A real
stuff.
good riddance, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We shared some stories from our times together as a band and, just all the fond memories we had with each other. And
That's super cool.
it was awesome.
What was your favorite anxiety at best song?
Oh, that is tough. I'd have to say either... Well, this one's not even out on streaming. We never got this one out on streaming, but the newest one that we did, it was called Trapped. And it was brought to us by our new guitarist. And there is a live video of it up on our Instagram. But that one was probably my favorite one because I just felt like it had so much energy. And I was able to kind of showcase my screams in it a bit. And there was a really cool guitar solo that I just loved. And I don't know, I just really love the vibe of that song. Nice. Either that one or the classic, The Age of Rage. I mean, I wrote that as like kind of an anthem for how tired I was of all the bullshit going on in the world. It was around like 2020, so like a lot of stuff was happening, as you all know.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of wrote that as like a big fuck you to the world, essentially.
Right.
And we always ended our shows with that song, and I'd have to say either that one or Trapped are probably my favorites.
That was like your closure then for most shows then?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, cool. That's always cool, and certain bands always have the closure song they do, and people they look forward to like hearing that song. You're like, all right, here we go. That's always cool.
That was your Don't Fear the Reaper, huh?
Yeah.
That's funny.
You're rock and roll all night.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so back talking about the Witches of Brookstown. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely happening, just it's not where we want it to be right now, obviously, for reasons out of our control. But as far as casting and stuff like that, we're welcoming you back and your part. And
I'm excited to be back, honestly. I'm really looking forward to it.
yeah, we have a bunch of ideas for this one. It's going to be a lot different than the Carver House. It'll be more darker and more twisted and whatnot.
Love to see it.
Yeah, it's as I explained earlier, yeah, we're at the mercy of just trying to get everything together, and it's like locations and then insurance.
Yes.
Why can't we just do what we want to do?
Yeah.
And budget. Like, we're trying to get even just money for all the stuff that we need to buy just for props and makeup and all this, wardrobe stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, we tried to make it like, we're not just trying to, a lot of people when they make films are just running outside and just doing whatever they can. Like, no, we're trying to really plan stuff to be better than the typical local budget or local film, I guess you could say, or like some fan-made film, which I don't knock them at all. Like, I actually want to do some of them myself, but and then we're working on, what are we working on?
We're actually working on an anthology film right now called Evil Logs.
Yeah, have you ever watched like Twilight Zone?
No.
It's sort of like an anthology, they call it, where it's like different
stories and whatnot.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like a Tales from the Crypt or
Gotcha.
Tales from the Dark Side, Creep Show, something like that. It's we looking at 4 different stories for it. So, like I said, mine's going to be based on a haunted road. That's all I can tell you. 3 other directors have different versions, stories they want to come up with and whatnot.
Cool. I'm looking forward to that.
We're all going to have like a host for it. So
Yeah.
the idea right now is having like a clown as he's like having people, and he's going to basically he's like telling the stories, and that when we show the short of the movie, that's the story he's telling you about. So kind of like one of them deals.
Oh, okay. I dig it.
We're maybe possibly looking at Jerry
Oh, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, we had talked to him about it. He seemed real excited about doing it. So.
Oh, hell yeah.
And just because I don't remember if we caught the first minute, well, I'll cut my question right here. But tell us about your acting career since the Carver House. What have you been up to?
Well, after the Carver House, I did get involved with a full-length featured film called Shingles the Movie. That one is actually an anthology where it has multiple different stories being narrated by somebody at the beginning. And in that one, I played the role of an alien. And the whole premise of it was a frat party, and the aliens were invading this frat party, and we got to act out a bunch of drinking games. That was really fun. And just overall, it was just an awesome time, awesome film. Loved it. It's streaming on Prime Video. I believe it's also on Tubi. Not sure where else it's at, but it is out there. And then the other one I got involved in was a small film that's on YouTube, and it's called Small Town Sleuths, where I got to play the role of a podcaster uncovering a local murder mystery. And that one was cool because, I love the idea of, true crime and all that kind of stuff. And it was really fun being able to, act out like I'm picking a lock or, shuffling through things. And there was a fight scene, and that was really fun. And I got to kick a car door into somebody.
What are your favorite kind of movies? Like, what do you watch in your spare time?
Honestly, I don't watch a lot of movies, but when I do watch movies, I like watching, horror movies.
Right.
I like... I'm a sucker for a good comedy, something that'll just put me in a good mood.
Anything come to mind, like something you really like?
White Chicks. Love that movie.
Okay.
It's so ridiculous, and you can't take it too seriously.
You have to suspend disbelief right away.
Yeah. Oh, it's just, I don't know. I could watch that movie all over and over again. I love it.
That's cool.
Yeah. I also really like fantasy type movies. Things like, I know this isn't a movie, but think like Game of Thrones type of stuff, where it's like kind of set in this medieval world, and there's magic and supernatural things going on.
That's almost what we have with that Depreciation Lands. Like you almost have to go check that spot out, and you'd be like, wow, this could be really cool if done right.
Yeah,
this could be really cool.
They're set back in 1600 or something like that. So it's real old fashioned looking like that, and they have the actors that are on set. They're always dressed up like that era of clothing.
Yeah.
So they have different tours and stuff like that. That's how they're dressed the whole time. They could tell you all about stuff that happened back in that era. And I ran into one guy who was telling us about he was a long hunter.
Oh yeah.
Ron's he's like, you know what that is? Ron's like, you hunt, you hunt long? He's like, no, it means I'd be hunting for several months at a time.
He would be the guy that goes out and brings
gone
back something, but it might be a month later.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
We didn't know.
So if he doesn't find a local buffalo, then he's going to go find one somewhere far.
Yeah.
But they're doing everything in tradition.
Yeah.
Though,
Okay.
So everything they do is based on real life events that have happened. They have a lot of artifacts there and antique stuff. And, so yeah, it is a super cool place. We're just... trying to figure this all out and get it all situated,
And the kicker, because us, we found that the place actually haunted too.
It's actually haunted.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great.
And we didn't even bring it up. Yeah. And that's the crazy thing. Everywhere we go, people are telling us something's haunted. There's must be something wrong with us,
Have you guys played with any Ouija boards recently? Because maybe that.
Growing up, I was into it, but not.
I mean, we messed around with them, in the past when we were teenagers or whatnot. But nothing recently. But it seems like every location we get, it's something's haunted. It's like the ghosts are telling us, "Come on, film here, film here."
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, hearing that place was haunted too. It's are you kidding me? Everywhere we go, there's some backstory of something's haunted. And you remember Helena's building?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
There was I loved that place. I swear, every time we went there, I found a new room to explore. I was like, where does this place end? Because she had those two buildings kind of merged into one.
Right.
And you guys went into the basement. Remember, it kind of looked like a dungeon. And I remember seeing a vault door, this big pit of water and stuff. And I'm like, this is just insane.
Mm-hmm. It was the perfect location for that. And there's just so much. I always tell people that building reminded me of The Conjuring.
Yeah.
So it was if you ever watched the movie The Conjuring, there's so much about some toy specifically might be haunted, or some monkey playing the drum might be haunted. You know.
Do you remember the one time we were filming there? We were filming something in the bridal room, and that one toy went off
Was
out of
going
nowhere.
off,
There
yeah.
was nobody in that room,
Yeah.
and a random toy just started going off. And we're
That-
like,
That specific time and the time we were also in the bridal room and we could hear something upstairs.
yes. Oh
that
my
was
God.
that was.
And I think you went upstairs to check it out,
I
and
did.
you were like,
Nothing was up there.
Dude,
Yeah. No,
that's
it was so
crazy.
weird. Yeah. Yeah. There's. Go ahead.
We had discussed with Jerry the time we were outside. It was like 2:00 in the morning. We looked all the way upstairs, like the 4th floor. The light was on to the former speakeasy. I go, Ron, we have to go back up there and turn that light off. Me and him go back up there. All of a sudden, the light was off. It
Yeah,
was
we
so
could not
weird.
find a room with a light on. You know how the building was like. You
Yeah.
could kind of find every room.
oh.
Nah.
Yeah.
And you remember where the alley was? So off Hines Street, there was that alley.
Yeah.
That's where we were standing when we looked and we could see like a light on and like it looked like a candle lit or something. It was really bizarre. Went all the way down. I had to unlock the door, go all the way up those dark ass steps. You know.
Yeah, we're walking pitch dark in there.
Yeah.
Stuff everywhere in your way.
Yeah. That place was a lawsuit waiting to happen. Like, you know.
Remember on the 1 floor, you could move those boards. You could see right through the floor and
Yep.
stuff like that.
On the 3rd floor.
If
yeah.
one person would have missed and hit that, you're going down for the count.
Yeah, I remember
You're gonna feel
that.
that one in the morning, that's for sure.
Yeah, that was such a cool. Like, what sucks the most about that place specifically is like, had it just not caught on fire, we'd probably be on the Carver House 3 or 4 by now.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
Easily.
yeah, easily. Yeah, that place was just such a perfect location. It's like I think that's part of it too. We just can't find
We
that
just wanna
again.
find that again.
Yeah.
If we could go back and just save that building from ever catching fire again,
Yeah.
like you said, we'd be on part 3 or 4.
Wasn't there somebody like living in the top floor of
Yeah.
it or
Yeah,
something?
we found that out after the place caught on fire, that there was actually a guy living there.
That's crazy. Can you imagine if he was there when we were filming? Who knows
Had to
how
have
long
been.
he was
He had to-
there?
Had to have been.
He had to been, because I remember the lady Helena told me and Rhonda one day, she's like, some guy keeps breaking in the middle of the night, and he's staying downstairs. I was down there one night, and I don't even, it was late, I know that, and I could hear some commotion going on in the background. I'm like, well,
Keep talking. I'm just gonna
yeah, I don't want to, I'm not going to go back there and look, because he's probably looking at me and thinking, what the hell is that, you know? Oh.
That's just so crazy to me.
fucking light was coming from? Goddamn doors.
Good?
Good.
Okay.
Looks way better now.
Okay, good.
Okay. Yeah, that that place. That when it first burnt down too, it sucked because a lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, you guys filmed the movie where the house burned down," and I'm like, "No. Like we were way done. Like you know, I don't want people to think that we had something to do with the house burning down."
Yeah.
And like you know, people draw that connection. Like, no. Don't get that twisted. You know. But yeah, we definitely didn't want people thinking that.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
weren't nowhere near it. At the
I was
time.
worried because I had the keys to the place, but just by luck, I took them back to Helena like 2 weeks before that happened, and the place burned down was absolutely awful. You know,
Yeah.
because you know we know that Helena, every piece in that building meant something to her. You know, and she went through a lot to get all that too. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
so
I remember because I went back a couple times with some friends. Danny and I actually went back a couple times just to, like, visit Helena and, like, you know, see what else she's brought into the shop and everything. And I remember we went up to the roof at one point and just hung out there for a little bit. It was awesome, you know, just going back. And I remember she was telling us she wanted to transform the 3rd floor where all those, like, little rooms were at. She wanted to transform those into, like, little apartments, like little bedrooms and stuff,
Yes.
and kind of
Yeah.
have, like, a commune almost.
yeah, we were gonna help her do
Yeah,
that too a
we're
little
actually
bit.
gonna help
Yeah.
her with it.
Yeah.
Our one friend does construction stuff, and like that was one of the goals was that we were going to help him do that, and it's just everything, you know.
Yeah.
There was a lot of safety factors with that building as well. Like I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember, like remember the outside had like a bridge or something that you could walk across.
It was like a little bridge walkway thing, but there was like no support beam underneath it at all, and it was just
Yeah,
anyone could have walked on and just you're going down.
there's a lot of risky stuff. But thank God Helena let us use that building. You know.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Without that, it never would have been the same. You
No,
know?
it wouldn't have.
We had went back there last summer. We were looking at locations. We were in the area, and just like the whole town is just like everything's like all like run down looking and stuff like that. But there's phone numbers trying to call people. Can we rent the space? No one's around. No one calls you back. So we tried going back in the area to film there again. Just
Yeah, I don't know if you've been there recently, but it's a
No.
parking lot.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
all
a
big field
parking.
there now.
It is one big parking lot. Like
That's so crazy.
It's completely gone. It's not even like a partial building. It's just completely gone.
it's so sad.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, it does, and it doesn't even look like that massive building stood there at
Yeah.
one point. You know, just you stand there, and you're just in disbelief. That whole town's kind of like that, though. That town's like you could tell at one point, maybe in the '60s or the '50s or somewhere, it was like a thriving community, and now it's
Oh
just
yeah. Especially if you look how the storefronts were, it has like the glass window take you like all the way down, and then the door would be down there, and something
Yeah.
you put like all the toys or clothing, whatever, in the window, and draw people in. I mean, it kind of looks like a bomb went off there in like 1950, and you just never recovered from there.
Rochester. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
doesn't. You could tell at one point it was thriving, though.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
and just. That's back in the when everyone walked around and went shopping and stuff. People
Yeah.
don't really do that no more now.
No.
Didn't you say Kohl's is closing now? Like,
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Did you hear Kohl's is closing?
No, I
The
didn't hear that.
Yeah, I forget where I heard it. They said Kohl's are shutting down now.
Wow.
it's
So they
malls
shut
are
down. Party cities
barely
just all
surviving.
shut down.
Yeah, I saw that.
Man, they're all just shutting down now. It's like stores like Amazon or like Amazon's like taking over. 'Cause you
Yeah.
can shop at home now. You don't have to go out anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly prefer it. Honestly, like if I can order stuff from Amazon, shows up the next day, I'm fine. I don't have to go
Yeah, you don't have
walking
to go
around the
anywhere.
store.
You don't have to worry about
I've been doing
Yeah.
the same thing, like different shopping. I'll order it and pick it up. You know, if I don't have to get out and walk through the whole store, and it's
Yeah.
so much more convenient.
No, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just this day and age. It's just the time we're living in where,
Yeah.
everything's online. And,
Right.
it has made things a lot more accessible and a lot easier for so many people, like globally. But it definitely has its drawbacks, that's for sure.
People don't socialize the way they did.
No.
Right.
You know, I don't even know how people meet each other. I guess online, but it's just
Yeah.
weird. You know, that's how it is. Internet friends now. You know,
Pretty much.
yeah.
Or if they see you performing at concerts, they introduce themselves, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I've made most of my friends just from playing shows all around the tri-state area, pretty much.
Yeah. In case we missed it too, tell us again about some of the venues you performed at, and
Yeah, so I would have to say my favorite venue was Jurgles, just because, awesome sound system, awesome crowd, and they gave us a green room. So it kind of made us feel like rock stars for
Is
a
that
night.
the room when you go up from the stage or steps to take you upstairs to that room, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I
And
know
they have
where
like
you're
a
talking
big wall in there that just has the Jurgles logo all over it. A couple other of my favorite venues that we played at that are sadly no longer venues. Black Forge in McKees Rocks. Loved that place. Loved the coffee. Just the vibe overall was just amazing. The Bridge Music Bar, again, shut down. Great vibes, really cool people that worked there. The owner loved our band, and he was like, "Hey, you guys can play here anytime you want. Just let me know." And we're like, "Sweet." Shut down. And then the last place that I really loved was Brandy's Basement out in Irwin. Again, shut down, but it had an awesome stage. It was this nice big platform. There was a bar. The food was really good. It had again, because of the name Brandy's Basement, it had the basement part is where the actual venue was, and then the upstairs was a restaurant. There was a bar, some tables. They did karaoke sometimes up there and all that good stuff. But it was awesome, and I don't know what's come of that. I don't know if they still have the restaurant part of it. I haven't been out that way in a long time, but those were some of my favorite venues that are sadly no longer venues.
yeah, and you guys were getting into touring as well, right?
Yeah, we went on our first and only tour in 2024. For the first 5 days of June, we started out in, where did we start? I know we started in Pennsylvania. Oh, well, it was in Erie. We started in Erie, and then we went to Youngstown, then we went to Buffalo, then Cumberland, Maryland, and then back to Beaver Falls, because originally we were going to have that show in West Virginia, but that fell through. So we're like, oh crap, we got to find something.
Right.
And we found something for the last day of the tour, so that was pretty cool. One of my
What did you
favorite-
think about touring?
Oh, I loved it. I want to do it again
Yeah.
so badly.
Jump in the van and just go?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it was just one of the best experiences of my life, and I would love to do it way more. And one of my favorite things about the tour, at the very last show, we toured with a band called the Perishables. The Perishables. It was their tour, and they invited us along. They took care of all the logistics of finding places to stay and booking the shows and all that, finding the openers. And during our very last show, during their very last song, previously, me and one of my other bandmates, we went to Walmart, picked up some foam swords, and we were like, all right, we're going to ambush them during their last song, last day of the tour, last show. So that we get on, there's a video up on Instagram and Facebook and stuff of as soon as their song starts playing, we just walk in there and we just start like hitting them with these foam swords, and they lit up too. So we were like lighting them up, and it was so much fun, and they loved it. They had no idea we were doing it, and it was just really fun.
What was the hardest part about touring?
I'd have to say probably being like properly prepared, because I packed pretty light because it was only a 5-day tour, and it's not like we were going like super far, so like if I absolutely had to, I could have stopped home if I really needed to. But yeah, I mean, I think the hardest part is definitely like working out the logistics. And oh, that reminds me, the Airbnb we were supposed to stay at in Cumberland, the perishables got there before we did, and they said someone was just living there. Like, there was just somebody living in that house, and they're like, what do you mean? Like, we live here. And they were like, we booked this place through Airbnb. Like, what do you mean? So they got in contact with the lady who initially listed the place, and she was like, oh, well, And we were kind of scrambling last minute to try to find a place to stay. Like, Everett's girlfriend was looking at hotels for us just to see if we could find like a cheap place to stay. And I was ready to just sleep in the car, you know, at that point.
I've done that.
Yeah. But fortunately, the Airbnb lady did, you know, she found another place for us for like half the cost. And it was honestly nicer than the original Airbnb we had booked. So it ended up being really nice. But we were really worried for a good like hour or two. Like, we got to the venue, and that's when we found out all that was happening, and we're like, oh, are we gonna have to like sleep in our cars, or like what's going on?
Yeah.
But it all worked out in the end, and we were fine.
So making the sacrifice of just packing and leaving is the biggest.
Yeah, I mean, like, there are definitely some things I would have done differently, like knowing what I know now. You know, like pack extra, because, you know, as silly as it sounds, there were like different outfits I planned out, and I was like, oh, it didn't pan out the way I thought it was gonna look, you know, and or just, you know, having more things to do, like bringing more books or like things like that. I don't know, it's things to keep me occupied on the road whenever I'm not sleeping, or because I didn't drive any of the tour. My guitarist drove us. Excuse me. And yeah, so I just kind of chilled, hung out, didn't really drive.
Yeah.
That makes it kind of more fun than you have to worry about driving.
Yeah.
And, you know, driving out of state where you're not sure.
It's
where
not
you're going.
touring if you're driving, right?
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, I don't know. And we did talk about getting a van at some point, but of course, you know, that's a bit
Extra expensive and
and
stuff,
yeah. And then we also had the issue of like, all right, who's gonna own the van, and like whose name is gonna be on the van?
Yeah.
And then it was like, where are we gonna keep the van? You know, it's like
Yeah.
we just couldn't.
Oh, you mean actually buying the van as a band?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we talked about getting a band van, and that way
would be cool.
for future tours, you know, because we were thinking ahead.
Or even just shows, being able to
Yeah.
carry all the equipment and stuff.
Yeah, there were plenty of times where we had our guitarist Aaron. He would bring like his dad's truck so that we could like load all of our gear into the bed of the truck and just show up to the venue as one unit. Plus, it just appears more professional that way. When the band shows up as a whole and they got all their stuff ready to go, it's just more professional than just like one person shows up at one time, two people show up at another time, you know? It's better to have everyone there as a whole unit, especially for things like sound check and getting all your gear set up.
Oh, yeah.
you know?
Nothing's worse than when you show up to a venue and some promoter wants you to do the sound check right away and you're missing someone.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
I can't, yeah, we've had that happen plenty of times because like one of them would get caught up in work
And
or
it's
something,
embarrassing. You go up
It
there.
is embarrassing, yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel like, you know, makes you feel like an idiot because you're like,
Yeah.
oh, like, why isn't this person here? Like,
Right.
you know?
That's what causes a lot of problems too, because you're
Yeah.
there and you're like, well, why am I here? Of course I'm here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
It's usually always the same ones that are always late too.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, we had So that's why we talked about getting a band. I mean, me and the guitarist, we even opened up a bank account for the band. That way, any like merch sales or anything like that, or like we uploaded our music through DistroKid, so we would have earnings from DistroKid. Not much usually, just because everybody streams nowadays and nobody really buys music anymore, which that's a whole other topic.
Right.
But so like any earnings that we had, like, it would go into the bank account. Any merch that we earned or ticket sale money that we would get from shows go into the bank account. That way we could put it towards like new gear or studio time or whatever we wanted to use it for.
Merch.
Or like buying more merch or making more merch, things like that.
Yeah, it is a business, right? Like there is a business side of even just being in a band and making sure everyone puts in their fair share, or
Not to mention, I mean, nowadays you have to be so much more than just a musician. Like, yes, you got to have the talent and the drive, but you're also a business owner. You're a photographer, a videographer, a digital creator. You're doing all kinds of things.
Yeah.
You're editing, like production,
social media management.
Exactly, and there is a lot that goes into it. And again, knowing what I know now, I know what to do differently whenever I do eventually start up another band, because that is definitely on my radar. I do want to get back into a band at some point once things settle down in my life a bit.
Yeah, definitely. You're missing that now, right?
I do. I miss it so bad.
Yeah. And I don't remember if that's what we talked about super early on, but like talk about the difference between your solo career as opposed to you being in a band.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't get me wrong, playing solo is nice because I feel like I can get more intimate with my audience, and it's like I feel like because I just play the acoustic versions of my songs. Like, I have full instrumentation for the produced songs and everything, but when I play my shows, I play it all acoustically. That way it's kind of more personal, and I feel like it's more raw that way, and I feel like I can really showcase, like, the emotions I put into the songs and things like that. However, with a band, it is also just amazing, like, having that synergy with everybody, especially after you've, like, put in the work to practice together. You're on point with your songs, and just that feeling of, like, I don't know.
It coming alive.
It's almost like an adrenaline rush, you know? It makes me feel so alive, and I love that feeling. And I just love performing, making people happy with my music. And, like, because as somebody who loves music myself, I grew up with different role models and inspiration in music that I, like, looked up to. And I'm like, wow, I want to do what they're doing one day.
Right. What was, like, the first... when you knew you want to make music?
I would have to say I first knew I wanted to do music when I was 10 years old. I did an elementary school talent show. I decided I was going to sing a song, and I saw people in the crowd singing along, and I was like, that was kind of like that. It clicked for me. I was like, this is what I want to do. And so I just kind of chased that ever since, and I feel like I've definitely made improvements along the way, and I'm still learning and improving. Because it's all you can do. You got to change. You got to adapt to the times, and
And who were your favorite artists, like, growing up?
Escape the Fate is my all-time favorite band, but I loved bands like Slayer, Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Bon Jovi, and then I would get more into the metal side of things, like Spirit Box or Kubla Khan, and I love, like, Black Veil Brides, Motionless in White. I just have a wide variety of inspirations. And like I mentioned earlier, bands like Evanescence and Hailstorm, some of my top inspirations. But yeah, like, I would watch videos, or I would go to concerts, like, watch videos of concerts and go to concerts myself and just be like, holy shit, this is something, like, there's just no other feeling that compares to me.
Yeah,
like,
live performance.
Yeah, like, there's nothing better to me.
No, what was the best concert you think you've ever seen? Like, some artists you saw on stage, like, wow, like, that was completely incredible, like, what they did.
Man, that's tough. I've been to a lot of concerts, so that's definitely tough to pick, but I'm going to give you a top 3.
Okay.
My top 3, in no particular order: Motley Crue and Alice Cooper.
Okay.
Fantastic show. When Motley Crue was like,
it's
our farewell tour.
Yeah, I was supposed to go that one. Yeah.
It's always someone's last tour.
Yeah, farewell tour. Meanwhile, 10 years later, they're still doing things. I'm like, what happened?
They got John 5 in the group, so
yeah.
Okay.
And then I would have to say seeing Hailstorm just this past summer they were on tour with Hollywood Undead and Fit for a King. That was incredible. Hollywood Undead puts on a hell of a show.
Okay.
They were so good. And of course, Hailstorm being another one of my favorite bands that I look up to. And like I was on the front barricade, so I was right there. I'm like, yes, this is amazing. Awesome. Like it's awesome. I even got the set list.
Oh, cool.
So I have that as a little memento.
Yeah.
And then my third, I would have to go with Seeing Motionless in White with Knocked Loose, Alpha Wolf, and After the Burial. That was, I believe, in 2023, but we had silver VIP, so we were able to get early access to the venue. We were up to the front, and like, I don't know, there's just something about the way the singer like is on stage. Like he's so energetic, and like he has these awesome screams, but like these cool vocals, like regular vocals as well, and just the energy. And I remember at one point somebody threw up a sign that said, "Justin is my daddy." Justin's one of the guitar players. But I was like, this is hilarious. I love it. I just love when silly shit like that happens at shows. You know, like people like, you know, back in the day, like women would throw their bras on stage with like rock stars and stuff. And nowadays,
like 80s and early 90s.
Yeah.
Those things cost a lot of money now, right?
I know. Yeah. I'm like, who would ever think to do that? You
Not
know?
now. Yeah.
No.
$30-$40 a piece. Like, no thanks.
Yeah,
no
no.
way.
But yeah, so those are definitely some of the most incredible shows I've seen.
Cool.
I've seen Motley Crue before, so I know what you're talking about. Tommy Lee when he does the drums, but the roller coaster, he's going like upside down, and he's still playing.
Oh yeah,
like, that's incredible. Like, how do you like practice that so many times? You mean like that's just it was incredible when I've seen it before. I guess
you think it would throw your equilibrium off, like being upside down.
Yeah, being upside, he's still playing the whole time. Like not a care in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, they're very good. You ever see Kiss before?
No, but I want to.
Kiss, yeah, they're another top notch. You know, they do it, super big. You know.
Yeah.
He didn't wear a Kiss shirt today because he didn't want to look like a super Kiss fan, and now he's bringing up Kiss.
Well, we're talking music, so it's a little different.
Yeah.
That's funny.
We're talking concerts.
Who do you think the top 5 guitarists are? Do you have any sort of list like that?
I don't really have any lists like that. Just like my all-time favorite artists. Again, Escape the Fates #1. Then I will have to go with Hailstorm, Evanescence. I've been listening to a lot of Spirit Box. Again, I was at their show last night, and that was incredible.
Was Buckethead there?
No. No, they were playing, I want to say they were at, like, Preserving or something. You have you ever heard of Preserving?
Yeah.
You ever been there?
No.
So what's cool about it, they actually have 3 different performing spots. They also have a record shop. It was like an old church up in New Kensington that they turned into a record shop that is also a venue. So they have the basement part of it.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, they have like the little basement part of it. They have a little platform stage, and then they also have like a DIY room that's like connected to it. That's literally like just cement walls, like small ass room, and then they also recently opened up a main stage up on the top floor. And there's this big stained glass window because, again, it used to be a church. And I have yet to actually go to the main stage part of it because I think actually the next show I'm going to, or not the next show, but a show I'm going to, is at Preserving on the main stage. And I'm excited for that because I've seen the videos and, like, it just looks so awesome.
Nice.
You know, and I can't wait to go see it myself in person.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's transition into movies just because, I just want to cover our bases, as far as acting goes, how did you get into acting and what is your passion with that? And we'll start completely over.
Cool. I mean, I honestly never saw myself acting in movies or anything. It was just something that was never on my radar before because I had ventured into acting in high school when I did a couple musicals. Nothing major. But I was just kind of like, why the hell not? Like, let's see what happens with this. And then I just kind of fell in love with it. And I'm like, wow, this is awesome. Like, this is just so much fun. And, the process of it all, like, yes, it can be very tedious. You have long hours, long days, Sometimes you have less than ideal conditions to deal with, a.k.a. Helena's place having no heat in the middle of winter. You just kind of roll with the punches. But, there's just something so special about coming together and, putting out something that you can be proud of. And, knowing that you put in all this work, knowing that, you're going to make some people happy. And, obviously you have the goal of it taking off and becoming a much bigger project than it already is. And, I mean, that's kind of my take on it is you just got to keep on going and don't stop.
What was the first project acting you were ever a part of?
The Carver House.
That was the
my
first.
first
Oh yeah,
one.
oh, that's right. We just,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that was my first ever like actual. Wait, hold on a second. I just remembered.
No.
Core memory unlocked. There was one other time where I was in a student film back in high school. It was called Teenagers of the Corn. It was a spin on Children of the Corn.
Okay, I've seen all them.
And unfortunately, it is no longer on YouTube. Otherwise, I would
Oh.
show it to you guys. But basically, what I did in that film was it was like weird because the audio wasn't working in some parts, so they only have some audio in some parts. And anyways, there was a part where I run into a cornfield, but there's like the kid's dad is just chilling in a lawn chair. Like it pans over to me running into the cornfield, pans over to the road, and he's just sitting in the road in a lawn chair. I'm like, dude, like, what are you doing? And then at the very end, I get killed with a machete. So it's like me in the cornfields kind of looking around, and it ends with like, it kind of cuts off like right whenever the impact hits or whatever. And oh my God, it was one of those things that was just really like funny and like kind of cursed in a way, but like it was just so like silly and fun, and I was like, yeah, this is awesome. I didn't really have any lines in it, but like I still got to kind of like act out different parts and stuff. And
Yeah, it's just a fun experience getting
Oh,
to
yeah.
do it. Yeah.
And with the Carver House, did you? And we asked Jerry this too. With acting, did you? What kind of mental preparation did you have to say? Okay, I have to become this character. It has to be different than who I am, or is it who you are, just in a different format?
Ooh, yeah. So when I was preparing for the Carver House, you know, obviously I would sit there and I would read through my lines and I would like practice saying them out loud and being like, okay, how do I want to use this inflection? And then kind of like, I kind of just, it's kind of difficult to explain really, but there's just something that I like, it's kind of like I flip a switch in my brain and I'm like, okay, like I am no longer Caitlin, I am Evelyn, you know, like this is who I am in this aspect. So I just really just throw myself into it, you know, after kind of getting a read on like what this character is supposed to be. I kind of go into it thinking like, all right, she is the leader of this ghost hunting group. You know, I need to be able to take charge and lead the group. So I kind of took that and put my own little twist on it, being like, all right, I'm going to put on this face for this role, but also kind of like throw in my own little personal things as like, you know, my mannerisms or whatever that kind of become the character. So I guess it's just a long roundabout way of saying like I kind of put parts of myself into the character and kind of make it my own in that way. And like the mental preparation part of it is really just a matter of like sitting there thinking to myself like, okay, I am Evelyn. What does she do? And how would she react in different situations?
Nice. So you are a little bit of a method actor then. You
A little bit, yeah.
That's good. I think that's cool. You know, I certainly don't act, but to be able to get into that mindset of like, yeah, what am I going to do? How's it going to look? Facial expressions, tone of voice. And like Ryan said earlier, originally you were going to be a witch. You remember that?
Yeah.
And then go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, when you did your part, you're calling the doctor, and I remember telling Ron, I was like, I think no, she should be Evelyn. But we had so-and-so lined up. I mean, nothing was set in stone or whatever, but I mean, I was just like, no, I think that Caitlin girl needs to be Evelyn. She just nailed that part so well where you're, well, can we come see Dr. Withers? And I was like, that's it. You know what I mean? And obviously, I think it worked out for the better.
I think so too, yeah. I had a blast, and I really felt like, you know, definitely some pretty good work there.
And you were awesome on set every day. You were always, you know, very positive and helped out tremendously on set with everybody because it was a process.
Yeah, definitely.
To say the least, it was definitely, you know, it wasn't easy by any means to pull that apart, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like whenever I become involved with something, whether it be music, acting, or anything else, I like throw myself into it. I go all in. I'm like all or nothing. So that's why I was so bent on like helping out and just, you know, even like making suggestions, being like, hey, what if we tried it this way? Or, you know, things like that. Just, you know, I wanted it to be the best it could be. So if I had any way of helping that, you know, I wanted to help.
And as you went on to doing other projects, have you like, did you learn something they do differently? Not necessarily with us, nothing to do with us, but like you got to see like maybe how someone else went about filming or handling things, and then
Yeah.
you go. You said you've been a part of a couple of productions now, right?
Yeah, I've just a few more. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I remember the one you sent me. It was like you're like in a space outfit or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, that was awesome. I mean, I even had these colored contacts. So basically, my character's shtick was I glared. So I had to like widen my eyes and like do kind of a crazy face at people. And I had these like purple colored contacts that just really like, added to it. And the director made these like game card, kind of like Pokemon cards, where it's like, you know, he did that for all of the cast members and the different characters. And like mine was just like, I forget exactly what it said on the card, but it was like Flu's stare or whatever, and it's like 50 points of damage or some shit like that. I don't remember, but it was great. I was like, this is awesome. And like I said, we got to act out some drinking games. It was just overall really fun, and you know,
Nice.
it was just great. Everybody was so really, really cool to work with. You know, everybody brought their A
Everybody brought
game.
something to the table and stuff.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
good.
What's the role in life that you haven't got the opportunity to play, but you would love to?
Ooh, Ironically enough, I remember I initially reached out to you about the Carver House because I wanted to be Pearl.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to be Pearl.
Okay.
I don't think I know this.
I don't
story.
think I think
Yeah, I don't know this one.
and I think it was just you had sent me a picture of you, and right away I saw a witch, like, you know what I mean, like because of
Yeah.
your style, you dress in the darker clothes, and
More like goth look.
and yeah, like we had you, and we had like a couple. You should see some of the other pictures we have of like these like picture decks we put together of like this person's this person, and we were kind of scrambling them around. But yeah, I forgot all about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you wanted to be Pearl at first. That's right.
Yeah, I don't know. Just like, I want to play a villain at some point. I would love to play a villain.
There it is. Okay,
Yeah.
so a villain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cold-hearted killer or
Yeah. I
Whatever.
mean, why not? You know, whatever villain, even if it was like villain had like a redemption arc or something, or even just a villain who's just straight up a villain the whole time. You know, I think that would be a fun challenge for myself.
That's cool. That's super cool.
Because I've never really gotten the chance to play like the bad guy or anything. It was always just like,
Yeah.
you know, again, with the Carver House, it's like, all right, I'm this ghost hunter. I'm like uncovering the truth about this whole legend. Small Town Sleuths, again, I was a podcaster trying to uncover the truth. And even in Shingles, I played an alien. I wasn't necessarily evil, but it was kind of like just this like feud between the college kids and the aliens. And it was just kind of like fun and goofy.
Yeah.
But I would love to play like a serious villain where it's like I do some fucked up shit. Like,
Yeah.
just once. I would love to do that.
That's cool. That's cool. So heartless, stone cold. All right.
Killer, yeah. I like it.
Yeah. What's in the future for you? What's anything coming up?
Currently, no, but the only, at least movies-wise, I don't have any casting calls planned. I don't have any movies planned right now other than The Witches of Brookstown. Musically, I do have 2 gigs this year so far. The first one is July 19th at 222 Ormsby. It's for Fitzfest, which my band actually played at last year, and it's an organization that is benefiting men's mental health. Like last year, I believe they raised like $6,000 and
awesome.
put towards like different charities for men's mental health, all for this man named Mitch Fitzgerald, who sadly committed suicide. I didn't know him personally, but you know, obviously it was still a very
Another
tragic
part
thing.
of the Carver House, Dana Bacode was the organizer, right?
Yeah. And whenever
See, the Carver House keeps on giving, right?
yeah, exactly, yeah. So yeah, whenever I saw that they were looking for acoustic acts, I was like, hey, I would love to do this again. It gives
Yeah.
a great cause. I love performing. The other show I have coming up is August 2nd. It's at the Butler Flea Market grounds, and
Those get packed. Yeah.
yeah, and it's actually the second festival, but it's a Williams Syndrome band bash. The first one happened in 2023 because Everett's girlfriend has a daughter who has Williams syndrome, which is a genetic disorder, and it can cause like heart complications and just like slower development, things like that. So basically, it's it's a really rare disease, and there's a clinic out in Ohio that like focuses on treating like infants and people who have Williams syndrome So I remember in 2023 when Anxiety at Best played, I forget exactly how much money was raised, but they raised like at least a couple grand and gave it to the clinic in Ohio. And they're doing it again this year. And I hit up Everett. I was like, hey, I know you're looking for acoustic acts. Like, would you be cool to let me play? And he's like, hell yeah. We'd love to have you play. So there's going to be a bunch of bands. They have like one stage set up for all the bands, and then they have another stage set up for the acoustic acts. And yeah, those are my 2 shows for 2025 so far. So
Nice. So you're already getting back at it, huh?
Yep.
Nice.
I wasn't going to be away from the stage for too long.
How many shows do you think you did with Anxiety at Best all together?
Oh, wow. Easily hundreds.
Yeah.
Easily.
Hundreds.
For
yeah.
5 years, yeah.
And like you said, it's one thing to be a part of a band. It's another thing to do hundreds of shows, social media, photography, videos, planning, practicing. It's a business.
It really is, yeah.
It's a serious commitment for
You
sure.
got to have that entrepreneurial mindset.
Yeah, and that's what most people don't want to have that when they're in a band. They want to be creative.
Exactly. Like,
And
they
that's-
don't think about that. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's where a lot of bands get steered in the wrong direction is they think that raw talent alone will get them somewhere. Like, no. Like, yes, talent is important, but you got to have the work ethic behind it to actually
sure.
get somewhere.
For sure. Anything else? Or do you want to start wrapping up soon?
I
or?
think we'll get ready to wrap this up, though. But anything, I guess you already covered all that.
Yeah.
I was saying, so what else is new?
What else is new?
What else is new?
I always,
Yeah.
something like that. But yeah, I mean, hopefully you get some more shows booked there soon.
Oh, how do people get a hold of you for
yeah.
for booking?
Oh, yeah. So I have Instagram. My music Instagram is CaitlinBliss.official. You can find me on Facebook again, Caitlin Bliss. I have a musician page there. Not on Twitter because I don't know. I don't like Twitter.
Yeah.
You can follow me on TikTok. It's x.missbliss.x. Same as my Instagram.
We'll put all your details we'll put all your information in the detail section too as well. So if you just send us
Perfect.
everything. Yeah, that's definitely something we'll do. Yeah, so we got your contact information. Anything? I know I'm missing something huge. As soon as we stop, I'll remember. But
You can
yeah,
always come back.
that's true. Yeah, so hopefully.
You can find my music on Spotify, Apple Music. Just type in my name. It's all there.
Cool. Definitely. Yeah, this is Caitlin Bliss from Pittsburgh and now a solo singer. You know, look her up, find all her information. We'll have everything posted inside the details. And we want to thank her for coming out today. This is episode number 12. So, yeah, I guess that's almost about it today. So, we good? Anything
That's
else?
I think we're good.
Okay, we're good, and we are out of here. Woo.